Well, good Tuesday morning. I'm 13 News Now meteorologist Craig Moeller with another live stream where we're going to take a deeper dive into weather. Some of the weather impacting Hampton Roads, some of the weather topics kind of hitting the nation, and one part of California under fire danger again. Let's talk about these headlines. Here's what we have. Our East Coast storm is starting to come together. That will have significant impacts for Hampton Roads weather. We'll talk about that, but also snow for the Northeast. And we're going to talk about the areas most likely to see snow and how much could come with this storm system as it does develop and come together. Our next topic, more wildfire concerns for California, namely Southern California. Those Santa Anas are cranking up. We've got some video to show you of some new brush fires and some more concerns for that part of the country. And then we're going to come back to Hampton Roads because there is a big weather pattern shift that is upcoming. So we want to make sure you're ready for that. If you're here in the 757 or anywhere along the Mid-Atlantic, you're going to notice a big difference later in the week. Let's start off with our first topic, and that's this East Coast storm that is starting to form. We'll take a look at what's happening, and I'm going to step over to the big board. So let's take this full. You can see the storms that are flaring up down across the deep south, Alabama, Mississippi. You're seeing some rough weather there. As we take a look, you're going to see this is all moving off to the east-northeast. We saw some light showers here in the mid-Atlantic, but there's a frontal boundary out to the west, and we actually have a warm front just to the south that's going to lift. So there's a lot of different parts that are all coming together to produce the changing weather that we're going to be dealing with. But you can see all the way from up around Maine, there's some snow there, all the way down through Louisiana. This is a large, complex storm system here that's going to come together. So let's put our surface features on and talk about what's happening. Couple of things, as I mentioned, we've got this whole frontal boundary, kind of a stalled front off to the north between these two areas of low pressure. That's not a big player. I will say there's dense fog. There has been all morning up in the D.C. area. Dense fog advisories are up there. Had a friend that was flying up through, I believe they were going through Dulles, but they had an issue with fog and a ground stop there for a little while, or at least some delays trying to fly through that area early this morning. That's going to change. This boundary is going to kind of lift. We have this warm front down to the south, and south of that, very warm air. So this low pressure is going to shoot off to the east-northeast ahead of this cold front. Down here's where the warm air is, and you can see as this warm front lifts later today and tomorrow, in Hampton Roads, we're in for a couple of warm days. It's also going to allow more moisture to come up into the eastern U.S. and the southeast. That's why we're looking at potential for excessive rainfall in these areas. Now, the other part of this system that we're going to be paying very close attention to, this cold front off to the northwest. This is the boundary with that really frigid air back across the north-central U.S. This front will slide east and southeast, and this cold air is going to find its way to the East Coast Thursday into Friday. So we've got a big drop in temperatures. It won't be super long-lasting. We're actually going to see temperatures recover a little bit by the weekend. But the bottom line is warm for the next couple of days with this front lifting, and then much colder here. And all of this is going to combine to produce numerous severe weather threats for parts of the southeast and then back up through the northeast, chances for rain and snow. So let's talk about all of this and how the storm system comes together. Again, we've got showers that are starting to develop. I just showed you the radar and the satellite images. So this is going to continue. We had a few sprinkles early this morning, but watch what happens later tonight. Eventually, as we go late Tuesday evening into early Wednesday, we're going to see some more showers develop. Now, there's the potential for some stronger storms down across the southeast, back across Alabama into Georgia. You take a look at South Carolina into North Carolina, could see some more intense rainfall there, certainly more humidity. That old frontal boundary still out there, but pressing a little closer as it moves off to the east. Off to the north around the Great Lakes region, much colder air up here. That's going to find its way in behind this cold front. So let's take you into Wednesday, and now look at the rain starting to intensify across Hampton Roads. Still a lot of rain out to the west, as you can see, parts of western Virginia, you get to the Piedmont and then head back through the mountains. Some rain there, rain back across the Piedmont, North Carolina through the mountains, and then back to the southwest from that. On the back edge of it, as that colder air starts to come in and play with that moisture, that precipitation that's falling, we have chances for snow. Now, I don't think it's going to be tremendously heavy on the backside, but there is the potential there, and you see how this all works off to the east-northeast. Now we're later in the afternoon on Wednesday, and a little later during this live stream, I'm going to show you a much more detailed look at the potential for storms in the mid-Atlantic coming through. You'll see how the future cast is really lighting up with activity. But on this broader view, just talking about the overall storm system coming through, you can see heavy rain from New York down through New Jersey, parts of eastern Pennsylvania, certainly Maryland, down through southeastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina. The potential is there for some very heavy rain at times coming through and some gusty winds as well. Again, snow on the backside of the system. Now, as we go late Wednesday and into Wednesday night, early Thursday, this pulls away. It's interesting to see a little bit of mixing, maybe just to the north of Hampton Roads, up around portions of the eastern shore, up into Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. There might be a little bit of mixing. Still snow for parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, New York State, and eastern Pennsylvania. And then the lake effect snows kick in. We talked about this yesterday on the live stream, how we're going to see those lake effect snows cranking up off Lake Superior in Michigan, coming off Huron and back across Erie, even Ontario, with a little bit of lake effect snow with that colder air coming across the lakes. We'll see improvements for the southeast as we go Thursday into Friday. Actually, a lot of sunshine, but it will be significantly cooler. All right, let's talk about the flood outlook or the potential for excessive rainfall. Okay, this is another way to depict this. There's a level 2 threat as we go through the day today. This is Tuesday. If you're watching on our 13 News Now Plus app, you might be watching later in the day. You might even catch it early Wednesday morning. This is for Tuesday, excessive rainfall potentially for Alabama, Georgia, into South Carolina and portions of North Carolina. Level 1 threat pushing up into Virginia and back over the mountains. So there could be some excessive rainfall or flash flooding. As we get into the day tomorrow, this is Wednesday, notice that level 1 threat shifting to the north and to the northeast. This now includes Hampton Roads, southeast Virginia, and much of northeastern North Carolina, all the way up through New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, and New York State. You see a greater risk, a level 2 threat for excessive rainfall for New England. So that's up through Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, back down through Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. That's the area that's going to be targeted at that point. By Thursday, the system pulls off to the east, and we're out of the woods as far as the excessive rainfall potential. Now, this is just one of the models. This is the graph model taking a look at potential rainfall. And for Hampton Roads, 1 to 2 inches expected. Again, it's going to be really how much comes all at once. If this were a gentle rain over a longer period, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the potential is there, especially Wednesday afternoon, for some very focused areas with heavy downpours, and that is the concern across the area. So we could see some runoff or some flash flooding issues. Elizabeth City, maybe 2 to 4 inches, some locally higher amounts depending on how these heavier cells and lines of heavier downpours set up. So if we get some of that training kind of going, think about train cars rolling down a track where you get one heavy cell followed by another, that's where those rain totals could really add up. That's the setup through Wednesday afternoon and into the early evening. All right, we're going to talk about the potential for severe weather, and this is specifically for Hampton Roads in North Carolina. We have a level 1 or marginal threat. This is for Wednesday, so it's just a level 1 threat. But when this line comes through, I'm certainly expecting very gusty winds, and the potential is there for a few stronger storms. So we're going to be watching for that. Again, those winds could gust in excess of 40 to 60 miles per hour around some of those heavier lines, especially if any of them bow out. Keep this in mind. These temperatures on Wednesday are going to be up around 70. So the calendar may say December, but it's feeling like fall or maybe even late spring when we get into that transitional period between warm and cold air. And speaking of cold, it gets much colder behind this system. We go from 70 for a high on Wednesday back into the mid-40s for a high on Thursday. Snowfall potential doesn't look right now like it's going to be gangbusters for everyone. This is the graph snowfall potential, and this is over the next 48 hours. Again, you could see some snow, especially over the spine of the mountains there, maybe 3 to 6 inches in some areas, 1 to 3 in others, lighter amounts. So it doesn't look like a tremendous amount. Certainly the mountains there, used to dealing with that snow in the higher elevations. That looks like the area is most likely to see it. But again, with the lake effect snow over the next 24 to 48 hours, you could see the lake effect snow across parts of the Upper Peninsula. Again, 12 to 18 inches or more for parts of the Upper Peninsula a little bit farther to the east there in Michigan. You might even see a little bit more, could see 18 to 20 or 22 inches of snow in a few spots. Coming off of Lake Erie, as you take a look south of Buffalo, most likely they're going to see more like, maybe 6 to 12 inches potentially with some of the lake effect snows, but locally higher amounts are possible. So that's what we're looking at as far as additional snow. Now I want to talk to you about a situation in Southern California and the fire concerns, and we do have some video to show you from that area. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. You can see this wildfire burning, and ABC put this out. Most of California, Southern California that is, sits under a red flag warning. Brush fire broke out. This was Monday night in Malibu Canyon, and it spread rapidly on the hillsides a few miles from Pepperdine University. Now, the fire was reported just before 11 o'clock. This was, again, last night, and was initially estimated to be just about 10 acres, but in about an hour, it was estimated to have grown to more than 100 acres. By 1 a.m., the fire was larger than 300 acres. Now, you might be wondering, why was all of this going on? Well, there's a high volume of dry brush in the area, and the strong Santa Ana winds are leading this blaze and really creating headaches for firefighters. That's why they're concerned as it continues to spread. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Santa Ana winds, and I want to come back. There were large animal shelters in place. They opened up some evacuation facilities around Palisades Recreation Center down in Pacific Palisades. And again, folks there all along the area just on guard. There are places for them to go. And again, it's going to be a pretty touch and go situation until those winds settle down. So let's take a look at what the National Weather Service, this is out of LA and Ventura County, along the Santa Ana wind corridor. This is, again, the official word and graphic that was put out by the National Weather Service in Los Angeles and Oxnard. Extreme and life-threatening fire behavior. Again, winds could gust in excess of 50 to 80 miles per hour. So not only are they talking about a quick spread of wildfires, but you could have some downed trees or power outages, and any power lines that are exposed, that can just, again, contribute to all of it. Humidity is expected to be between 5 and 15%, so very low humidity. And again, with those hazardous crosswinds, those strong Santa Anas can lead to a lot of trouble. That's the official word from the National Weather Service. Here's a look at the areas in Southern California. You can see from just east of San Diego and just outside of LA there, they've got the red flag warnings, and this is for today and through tomorrow. Winds, as I mentioned, gusting over 50 miles per hour. Those Santa Anas coming down through the canyons. And as those winds come down, they warm a little bit. You've got the low humidity. It's a dry, warm wind that is really howling, and that's why they have to be so concerned. I put on, these are 850 millibar winds, so you get up a little bit higher up into the mountains and the canyon levels, and you can see how those winds are whipping in from the northeast and the east. So that's what's blowing through here. Again, a dry wind fanning those wildfire concerns. We'll keep a close eye to that as we go over the next couple of days. Hopefully they'll get some relief as the Santa Anas calm down a little bit. But now through Wednesday, those red flag concerns are out there. Now, as far as rainfall goes, I want to bring it back here to the East Coast and talk about a different situation. Again, I mentioned the significant rain potentially for Hampton Roads. So let's talk about what's going to be going on in this pattern change. I mentioned Wednesday, we've got our storm system coming through, and I want to get back to that. So here are the big talkers, I guess, the talking points for the mid-Atlantic region. Warm today and again tomorrow. Today's highs, mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures close to 70. And then we've got that cold front coming through. So a few passing showers possible today. I expect some showers to develop maybe down into North Carolina, and then later this evening, shower chances will increase. Tomorrow, wet weather across Hampton Roads and the mid-Atlantic region as that front comes through, and then the big change with the cooler end to the week. So let's get back to the maps and we'll take a look at this. I want to get back over the board so you can see what we're talking about here. The rain intense down across the south and the southeastern U.S. I'll walk into the board here and show you what's happening with the storms across Alabama, back into Georgia. You can see some pretty intense thunderstorms down that way. Now, cooler air is set to move in across the north central U.S. There have been some snow showers flying, so that's an indication. Yeah, it's plenty cold up that way. But again, this cold air is eventually going to find its way to Hampton Roads. So while we have these showers down here to the south across North Carolina, we're not probably going to see very much across Hampton Roads. There might be a stray sprinkle, but for the most part, it's going to be mostly cloudy and really not a bad day. Remember, that warm front that we have just down to the south, that's going to lift through the area and open up the warmer conditions across our region. So while yesterday we were right around 60 degrees, today we're in the upper 60s, tomorrow near 70 with that front lifting to the north. We'll keep an eye to that. Again, a few showers kind of associated with that front down to the south. I don't really expect much here, but you can see with the live radar sweep, we were dry across Hampton Roads, but just down around the Albemarle Sound, Edenton, and areas south of that, we do have a few showers even at this mid to late morning time period on Tuesday. Now, as we go forward, any showers that we see will kind of work off to the east, northeast. This morning, they were racing along. Those upper level winds were pushing these things from the southwest to the east, northeast, and cells were moving along about 50 miles per hour, so they were really humming. As you can see, the temperatures do warm through the midday and into the afternoon. We get close to that high of 67 for Norfolk, upper 60s around Elizabeth City, close to 70 there. Hertford at 68. Chances for a few stray showers. Can't rule it out this afternoon, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be real well organized. Anything we see should be very spotty and very light. Now, as we go through the overnight, though, things start to change up. Better chances for more rain to develop. We still have the south winds, so you know it's still very warm. 8:30, you're looking at temperatures in the low to mid 60s, so it's going to feel pretty good out there this evening. Maybe you want to try to get in a quick stroll or, get in a little bit of exercise. You'll be okay. Just check the radar before heading out. Eventually, by late evening, 10:30, 11 o'clock, you start to see the rain coming in. And I think we will see some heavier rain overnight. So look for some periods of moderate to very heavy rain. This is around 1 o'clock. As we go into the afternoon tomorrow, those temperatures warming up. So we're in the upper 60s to start Wednesday. It's going to be plenty warm. Here's this line out to the west. And again, that cold front's going to get a little closer to us, but we're still looking at winds coming up from the south and the southwest. Temperatures now, the model updating and kind of showing some areas up around the low 70s for tomorrow. Think at the airport, probably pretty close to 70, maybe a degree or so warmer. But the bottom line is the stage is set with an approaching front. And you can see how the winds are starting to shift here to the northwest. Here's that frontal boundary. Out ahead of it as we get into the afternoon and the peak heating, we're going to see this chance for stronger storms. And that's what our team here at 13 News Now is going to be covering for Hampton Roads. It's just a level 1 threat for severe weather, but with temperatures potentially up in the lower 70s, and then the cold front pushing in, we have the potential for a few stronger storms. Some gusty winds, certainly a concern as this comes through. It'll clear the coast, and then that wet weather will eventually move out. Once it does so, you see the winds shifting to the northwest, and look at that drop in temperature. We go from potentially lower 70s, maybe even low to mid 70s in a few spots, to low to mid 30s. As we get into early Thursday morning. So a 40-degree temperature drop with that front. That is a significant system, and we want you to know that's what's coming up as we get into Thursday. That's Thursday morning. Afternoon temperatures on Thursday will get back up into the 40s, but it's still going to be below average. Now, the winds are going to pick up tomorrow as well. You can see winds not a problem today. We're looking at gusts maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, gusts start to pick up closer to 30 miles per hour across Hampton Roads. And as we get into 9 and, say, noon, you could see some gusts 35 to even 40 miles per hour there in Chesapeake, Virginia Beach. Potentials there up around Chincoteague as well. Some very gusty winds. And again, this is with that front coming through into the afternoon. Once the front actually pushes through, the winds are going to shift around and they will ease into early Thursday. Now, rainfall totals, again, I showed you the one model that said, oh, okay, we could see when all is said and done, 1 to 2 inches, a few spots, 2 to 4. You can see most of the models here for the different locations kind of staying in that 1 to 2 inch range. This is a GFS. suggesting Norfolk about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.8 inches, closer to 2 inches around Williamsburg. So that's the GFS, or the American model. We'll take a look at the European model. And again, these global models indicating some heavier rain. For Franklin, for instance, the Euro throws out 2.45 inches, about 2 inches at Hampton, and 2 and almost 1/4 inches up at Matthews. So some good soaking rain. It's really going to depend on where those heaviest cells line up. Now, I mentioned the temperature pattern change. Today and tomorrow really warm. Then we drop into Thursday and Friday. You don't see temperatures getting back into the upper 60s or 70s. It'll stay cool, probably just a little bit below average on Saturday, maybe close to average Saturday. Another chance for a few scattered showers on Sunday, back into the mid-50s on Monday, and then low 60s on Tuesday. Temperatures closer to average, maybe a little bit above Wednesday and Thursday of the following week. Out on the water today, it's not that bad, but tonight small craft advisories will go up, and a gale watch is posted for tomorrow with that front coming through on our coastal waters. So small craft advisories go into place tonight. Right now we don't have any flags up, but they'll go into place later tonight, and potentially we could see some gale warnings if that system comes together and generates that kind of wind. Now, highs today generally in the upper 60s. As you can see, it's going to be mostly cloudy. Not a bad day if you've got outdoor plans. Just keep an eye on the radar. There could be a stray shower or two out there that does pop up. For the peninsula, low to mid 60s, upper 50s to low 60s for the middle peninsula. Urbana, a little bit of fog earlier this morning. I mentioned the fog up around D.C., so they've been dealing with that. We've also seen a little bit over to the eastern shore. Down across North Carolina, chances for stray showers, a little bit greater down to the south, but it should still be fairly isolated today. Tonight's low down around 57. Again, cloudy and breezy. Rain develops, and then tomorrow we've got the rain and the wind, and that rain heavy at times. Winds gusting close to 35. Some areas might see a little tick up, maybe close to 40, but I think in general, 35-mile-per-hour winds. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. I'll step back so you can get a good look at it. The temperatures are going to drop on Thursday. We're also going to see clearing skies. So that is something to look forward to there for your Thursday. Some more sunshine. 45 on Friday, back into the 50s, low to mid-50s on Saturday, and then scattered showers potentially on Sunday into Monday. Let me remind you, you can always find me on social media. Facebook, search Craig Moeller. Instagram at Craig Moeller TV. And you can find me on X at 13 Craig Moeller. Always love to hear from you. Hopefully you're enjoying these deeper dives into weather. We try to do them every morning, and we like to do them right at 9 o'clock. There were a bunch of meetings and things going on at the station this morning, so we got a little late start today, going back closer to 10 o'clock to that start time today. But in general, if you tune into the 13 News Now Plus app, you will see live, long-format weather streams covering all of these topics and taking this deeper dive into it. And you can always catch it on the 13 News Now app at your convenience. And that's what we're here to do, to provide you the weather information you want when you want it. So thank you so much for spending time with me this morning or throughout the day whenever you're watching. And check back again tomorrow morning. We should be streaming live at 9 a.m. and we'll continue to post these throughout the week. When I'm off, my teammates are covering, and we're going to be doing more and more of this content for you right here at the 13 News Now Plus app. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.